My friend. Nothing irritates me more than deceptive marketing and tricks to get you to buy stuff that you either don't need or you buy it and you realize it's not what you expected. And one thing that brands like to do is they like to use words in a way that sound official, but they actually have no real true legal meaning at all. So if you are interested in learning what some of those words are so that you are not tricked into buying crap that you don't need, hang tight. We're getting into it right now. Before we get started, I do want to let you know that I do have a fabulous lip combo on right now by Cosmeceuticals. This is my shade Refine with the shade Aries, and that is what I've got going on my lips today. If you missed the pre-sale, no problem at all. The full launch is on July 29th, which is National Lipstick Day, where you'll be able to get either the full set or the individuals. If you don't know what the world I'm talking about, I will leave a link to my announcement video down below about my collaboration with Cosmeceuticals. I just wanted to put that out there. Oh, and it's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I don't think I mentioned that before. But we have other things to talk about. Okay, so one thing I want to make sure that I mention here is that a lot of the words we're going to talk about today are real words. You can find them in the dictionary. They do have a very general definition, but they don't have a legal definition. And there's a huge difference there because brands can manipulate and say that they have something or do something, and they really are and cannot be any repercussions for them not really representing things the way that you think they might be. And I think that's really important for us to understand so that we know exactly what we're buying and what these claims truly mean. So let's go ahead and start with the word cosmeceuticals because it sounds so medical. Spoiler alert, it's not. This is from WebMD. Cosmeceuticals are the marriage of cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. Marie Jin, who is a medical doctor, she's a dermatologist, she says, quote, cosmeceuticals will contain active ingredients that are known to be beneficial to humans in some way. Well, if that isn't vague enough, she says, for example, vitamin C is a known antioxidant, and when this is added to a lotion or a cream, the product is considered a cosmeceutical, according to her. Pharmaceuticals have to be approved by the FDA. Cosmetics do not. The merge of pharmaceuticals and cosmetics do not, because there cannot be any kind of medical claim. Cosmeceuticals is a marketing terminology. It is not a medical claim. I will leave links, official links to all of this information down in the description if you want to read more about it. But if you see something that says cosmeceuticals, that does not mean that a doctor or the FDA or somebody medical has decided that this will have a medical or clinical effect on your skin. It is just marketing. Now, I threw these two in together because they kind of go together. It's natural and organic. There are different things going on with each one. Let's go ahead and start with natural. You would think natural means coming from nature, but the thing about something coming from nature is a lot of times in cosmetics, they take the thing that came from nature, let's say a rose. They take the rose and they process it in all kinds of ways to give you maybe rosehip seed oil or rose water. Are those natural when they've been messed with by humans? When things are added into it? When things are extracted from it? Is that natural? The fact is there is no one that has defined that in cosmetics from the FDA in the United States. Now, organic is a little different. It's the same thing with organic and the FDA. The FDA has not defined organic. However, the USDA has defined organic. So that's where it gets a little tricky. This is what the FDA website says. Cosmetic products labeled with organic claims must comply with both USDA regulations for the organic claim and FDA regulations for labeling and safety requirements for cosmetics. Now, this is directly from the FDA website for people that are considering creating natural and organic cosmetics. That is their audience for this statement. They say, choosing ingredients from sources you consider organic or natural is no guarantee that they are safe. You are still responsible for making sure your ingredients are safe when used according to the labeling, or as they are customarily used, no matter what kind of ingredients you use. Because it's important to remember that the FDA does not test any cosmetics before they go to market unless they have medical claims, such as maybe a lotion for eczema treatment or a dandruff shampoo, something like that, or a sunscreen. Regular cosmetics like lipsticks and eyeshadows and foundations do not go through the FDA before they hit shelves. So it is truly up to the manufacturer to make sure that their products are safe. And that is actually quite scary to me. This is one we touched on in my lip balm video, and it's the term medicated. And we see that a lot in hand creams and in lip balms and things like that. The word medicated makes you think that there is medicine in it, but that word is also not regulated by the FDA. When you have a medicated lip balm, it usually means that there's some kind of mint or mint derivative in it, like menthol. The problem with this is mint and menthol actually don't help your lips like at all, really. I think there's maybe some antioxidant properties in mint extract, but really what it is it's giving you the feeling of being healing without actually healing anything. You get that cooling feeling, maybe that tingling feeling that makes you feel like something is actually happening when it's not. For more information on that, I will link my lip balm video down below for you. Same thing with medicated hand creams. Unless there is a drug fact on there, it has not gone through the FDA as a medicated product, meaning something that has medicine in it. Usually a medicated hand cream will just be very high in humectants and things that will bring moisture into your hands. It does not mean that a doctor created it. They may have, but that's not what it means. Oh my gosh, this one drives me nuts. Dermatologist recommended. Okay, who? Which one? Who are they? Did you pay them? Did you tell them, hey, I will give you $100,000 if you say that this is dermatologist recommended? Was it one dermatologist? Was it 10? Was it 100? How many dermatologists are we talking about? Could it be amazing? Could it truly be something dermatologist recommended that's actually really good? Absolutely. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, and anybody can put that on their label as long as they get a dermatologist to recommend it. This one I know drives a lot of you absolutely insane, and it's the word clean. Some companies have defined clean for themselves. They'll tell you on their website, we have clean products and this is what clean means to us. We have clean at Sephora, and they have a definition of what clean means to them. But it's important to know that there is no actual definition, a legal definition for the term clean. To me, what I've noticed clean means is that they have left out ingredients that consumers are afraid of for one reason or another. Maybe there's a legit fear, maybe because it's backed in science and this is something we don't want in our cosmetics, like mercury and lead. Maybe that's what it is. But maybe it's something like parabens, where there has been media attention to it and actually no scientific evidence that has been found to be legit that says these are harmful to the general population. Yes, some people can be sensitive to parabens, but for the general population, parabens have not been found to be harmful. They're actually a wonderful preservative for cosmetics. But these clean lists, pretty much everyone I've ever seen says that it's paraben free because they know consumers are afraid of parabens. Another thing that at least Sephora puts on their clean list is undisclosed synthetic fragrances. Okay, so there is an argument against fragrances, against having them in skincare especially, and in makeup products as well. And that's that your skin can become sensitized over time. Undisclosed fragrances, of course, can be very scary because there's no way to know which fragrance is in your product, so you don't know which one you're sensitive to. From what I've read and heard from professionals is that these undisclosed fragrances may be just as damaging as the disclosed fragrances like limonene and linalool and eugenol. So just because it doesn't have the word fragrance doesn't mean that it is fragrance free. free. And another thing, I didn't put fragrance free on here, but some people believe that fragrance free means that it doesn't have a scent, and that isn't necessarily true. Sometimes that's true, but that's not necessarily true. It just means that they haven't added fragrance into it. That's one that people get confused about as well. And yet, of course, on these lists, we have some really dangerous things, like I said, like lead, mercury, things like that. But then they have, this is weird on the Sephora one, they have a strange claim about talc. It says talc, but only if it's asbestos free. We would hope that all talc is asbestos free, but we know that some very cheaply mined talc that is in these areas that do have asbestos as well can have asbestos in it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with making sure that your talc is asbestos free. But we would hope that, especially if we're buying something from Sephora, that these companies are using asbestos free talc. I don't see anything wrong with making sure that it is. Charging that to the brands and saying, hey, you need to make sure that your talc is asbestos free. But then I'm wondering, how do they know? Do they just say,
hey brand, is your talc asbestos free?
Well, yes, Sephora, it is asbestos free.
how do they know? That's what I'm wondering. I don't know. So in the end, what I'm trying to say is the clean thing might lead you in a good direction, but at the same time, there's a lot of fear mongering in the clean thing. I think the important thing to know here is that clean doesn't necessarily mean what you think it means. Now, this one is going to make a lot of people upset, but it's true, and it's important that you know that it's true, and it's the term cruelty-free. Cruelty-free has no legal definition. I could make a product tomorrow, say that it's cruelty-free, and put it on my packaging, even though it was tested on animals. I could do that, and there would be no legal ramifications for that. In the United States, we rely on companies like PETA and Leaping Bunny to have these programs where you can apply and get your product certified as cruelty-free. PETA certification, from what I understand, is extremely easy to get. You just have to say, hey, PETA, we're cruelty-free. And they're like, are you sure you don't do any of these things? And we're like, nope. We don't do any of those things. And they're like, cool, here's a bunny. Leaping Bunny is a little more strict. You have to pay a fee. There's a whole process of proving that you're cruelty-free. So if you're really, truly looking for a solid, yes, this is cruelty-free, Leaping Bunny is the way to go. Now, that being said, like I said, I could just take a bunny that I downloaded off the internet, some image, and throw it on my product and say I'm cruelty-free and, you know, whatever. But the good news is about all of this is it's actually very, very rare to have cosmetics tested on animals in the United States anymore. Most companies just don't do it anymore. There are so many tests that can be done without testing on animals that are just as valid and sometimes even more valid than the animal testing, because the testing that they're doing is in vitro on human cells rather than on an animal. And animal skin reacts differently than human skin sometimes. So that's why those are usually even better. But remember what I was saying earlier. Cosmetics don't have to be tested at all before they go on the market. So a lot of things just aren't being tested. And that's just the way that things are right now. They may change in the future where the FDA requires all cosmetics to be tested before they go on shelves. But as of now, there's really no reason to test on animals in the United States. Where we do have an issue is when we're talking about selling in mainland China. So I have a full video explaining how all of this works. I will put links in the description. I'm just gonna give you the nitty-gritty of what it is. So if I have a cosmetic product and I make it here in the United States and I wanna sell it in China, I have to send it to China. They have to test that product on animals before they can sell it to Chinese consumers. Another thing that I've mentioned recently in a video, but I do want to mention it here, is there is a difference between cruelty-free and vegan. So if you have a cruelty-free product, that specifically means it's not tested on animals. That does not mean it does not contain animal products. You can have carmine in a cruelty-free product. Carmine is made from crushed bugs. They can kill the bugs or take bugs that are already dead, grind them up, use them for pigment, and put them in a cruelty-free product. That's not what cruelty-free means. What you're going to be looking for is a vegan product if you don't want any animal products. So make sure you have that set in your mind that cruelty-free doesn't mean that they haven't, inflicted cruelty on an animal in order to manufacture that product. It just means it hasn't been tested on animals. Really important to have that distinction when you're buying cosmetics. This one really surprised me. It's hypoallergenic. I'm gonna read this right off the FDA website. here we go. There's no question about this. There are no federal standards or definitions that govern the use of the term hypoallergenic. The term means whatever a particular company wants it to mean. Manufacturers of cosmetics labeled as hypoallergenic are not required to submit substantiation for their hypoallergenicity. Whatever, claims to the FDA. The term hypoallergenic may have considerable market value in promoting cosmetic products to consumers on a retail basis, but dermatologists say it has very little meaning. Next. People are very surprised by this one as well. We've got this one and one more. This one is noncomedogenic. Comedones is the term for blackheads and whiteheads. So noncomedogenic means that those will not form on your skin. That term is not regulated. And there's a reason for that. And it's because everybody's skin is different. What's comedogenic to one person may not be comedogenic to another person. The comedogenicity tests that they do, either do them on animals or they sometimes do them, if they're doing them on a human, they do it on their backs typically. So the back skin is very different than the face skin. So you're not necessarily getting the results that you would get from having it in a face product. The other thing is how these ingredients mix with other products within the formula may lessen or increase the comedogenicity of a product. Most likely lessen based on the research that I've done. So saying something is non-comedogenic, you kind of have to figure out whether that term means something to you or not, because it doesn't mean anything to our laws here in the United States. And I don't believe, I'm pretty sure on the FDA website it says that nowhere in the world is it regulated as a term. So honestly, I wouldn't take it too seriously. What you probably need to do if you have acne-prone skin is look at the ingredients of the products that you're using and seeing if there is a common denominator in the things that you're using. Is it coconut oil? Is it mineral oil? Is it argan oil? I don't know, whatever. If there's something that your skin is reacting badly to and you've seen it happen in multiple products, just don't buy products with that particular ingredient. But again, what is comedogenic to you may not be for somebody else. So unfortunately, it's just going to be a trial and error thing with that term. It's not regulated. And finally, this is probably the most fear-mongering word I hear all the time. If you go to Environmental Working Group, they use this word all the time, and this is why I've completely stopped using that website, except for the concrete data information like why a product is created and what its use is. Non-toxic. Of course, there are things that are toxic in this world. Believe it or not, I know the FDA gets a lot of crap for good reason for not having enough things on their toxic list. The things that have been determined are toxic, like mercury, like lead, those things have been shown to actually be poisonous to people. They are toxic. They are truly toxic. A lot of these ingredients that are still legal in the United States to use, if you use them under a certain percentage, they have no evidence that they cause any harm to anyone. The FDA's laws regarding the ingredients that are allowed to be in cosmetics are so incredibly outdated. If you want to see some better research as far as the ingredients that should or should not be in cosmetics, I definitely recommend checking out EU regulations. The EU actually has some regulations that are more lax than the United States, believe it or not, and one example of that is the use of certain pigments in eyeshadows. I have a full video on that as well if you want to know more about that. And basically, the FDA is outdated in the use of these pigments around the eye area because back a long time ago, they were made a different way. They were made in a more natural way, and now they're more synthetic and therefore more safe. So we haven't caught up in the United States as far as the regulations when it comes to those pigments, but the EU has approved them for eye use because they have more funding and they have the ability to update things better than we do here. And really our government just needs to get on it I mean, I guess we do have bigger fish to fry right now as far as, you know, viruses and things of that nature. But at the same time, hopefully we'll be able to get some better cosmetic regulations that are more accurate to what's really dangerous in cosmetics and what's not in the FDA, because it's really just a whole hot mess. What I really want to stress to you about the term non-toxic is that it's not regulated. So you technically could have a product sold on the shelves with a toxic chemical and they could label it as non-toxic. That's the big thing that I want you to know about this. Non-toxic is a marketing term. It does not actually mean that the product is free from toxic chemicals, and it's really stinking sad. And with that, my friend, it is your turn. In the collective brain of makeup awesomeness, where we help each other to not buy crap and to buy things that are totally worth it. I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments down below. And I have a lot of really smart people in my audience. So if you teach me something that I didn't know and I back that up with some sources, and I would love to add that to my bank of knowledge. This is based on research-based studies that I will put in the video description for you. But if there's something that I don't know, please check the pinned post and also the description box for anything that I may have learned from the community to clarify anything in this video, because I don't know everything about everything, but I am always open to learning. So please contribute, whether you learned something, whether you felt like I forgot something, whether you feel like something needs to be clarified, please leave that down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up. Really helps me a lot, only takes you a second. If you are not already subscribed, you can subscribe if you enjoyed this content. And if you would like to hang out and watch another video, YouTube should be recommending a video for you right down there. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They don't feel like it. But if it is your time to go, thank you so much for hanging out as long as you did. I appreciate you. Mad love to you, and I will see you in a video very soon. Bye.